Feel like Miss Jones, my 7th grade teacher. All right, am I supposed to start this recording, or is it already started? Let's see. Oh, there we go. Quest coach report to the cloud. So I think we are recording.
It's recording.
Trying to get this some clarity here. Let's
It's
see.
already it's recording.
Are we recording? Does it say it? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's get started here. So welcome to the book club. And let's see. Okay. So what chapter are we starting on? I think it's 13. No. Yeah, I think it's 13. The great ones do it all with class. The great ones do it all with class. I think we forgot the act, or I forgot the action step on the other day. And the action step, let's make sure we go through that too, because the action step was list the 3 most difficult adversities you have faced and 5 good things that have happened to you as a result of each one. List the 3 most difficult adversities you have faced and 5 good things that have happened to you as a result of each one. Train yourself to see the good in adversity, and your fear of future challenges will dissipate. So, the 3 things that were the biggest challenges for you, list those 3. Like learning the trade. It might just be for me. But let's say starting a business, and the difficulty of doing that. And once you got it going, list 5 things that you have learned from that, or 5 things that have helped you because of the challenges you went through. You know how they say, it's not the $1 million you make, but the person you become along the way. That's why it's really not good for somebody to just get $1 million, like winning in a lottery, or these 19-year-olds going into the NBA. Now they got these, gazillion-dollar contracts all of a sudden, and you see all the crazy things they do because it wasn't a process of learning that money. I mean, I know they played ball for it, and they played since they were younger, but that whole thought process of, handling money and doing things with that on the way up, they never got. Maybe these guys will start getting it now with this money they're getting from their likeness. And so when they go into the league, they can be used to some of the money. But the same thing here, the challenges that you faced, the difficulties, the adversities, there are always good things that come from that. So what he wants you to do in the book is list them. List those those good things that have come from you going through that process of starting your business. Now, I'm just using that as an example as adversity and challenges. And some of the good things that might have came from that is now you've gotten to know me. Or you've gotten to know a lot of other people that are thinking the same way that you're thinking. You know, you've met a different group of people. That's one of the things that I know for a fact as I struggled in business is that I started meeting a lot of people that were thinking the same way I was thinking. So our conversation was the same and they could understand what I was saying. Before that, you know, the guys I knew, you know, I was like, you know, speaking French to them because they didn't get the things that I was saying. They wasn't on the same page as a person who was going through the process of starting a business and changing their mindset. So one of the benefits I got from that adversity and those challenges was meeting new people. That was one thing. Another thing was understanding, well, I've learned about a little about money and how you should handle it when it comes to business. You know, before that, I wasn't thinking about how to handle money when it comes to business and how you should put back in your business and how you should reinvest back in your business. That's another thing that I got from that adversity. Now, it could have been a different challenge or adversity for you. Let's take a personal one. You might have had death in your family of somebody close to you. Okay. So now you had that, which I did. I've had a few. And now, what did I learn from that? Or what benefit did I get from that after all that is over with? Because you got to first believe that that person is gone to a better place, you know. And so then you look and see, what did I learn? What have I benefited from going through that process of, you know, dealing with death? You know, you go back and look at it and say, one of the things you could have found out is that who was really on your side and who really showed up. I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's one thing that you could find out. But please, when he do these assignments or ask for you to do these assignments like action step, we need to do them. So I skipped that the other day. So that means I'm gonna do this today. All right, so let's start in the chapters. Chapter 13, the great ones do it all with class. And this is our first time doing a Zoom, so I want to make sure that everybody hears me and we're good, because I see there's, you know, a few people on here, you know, the few, the proud, the Marines. And I just want to make sure that everybody got this screen blocked now. So we could have done a conference call, I guess. So, but then you couldn't see the little monkey dance. I'm over here dancing for y'all. Somebody give me a thumbs up or something behind your screen that you can hear me. Here you go, monkey. Go. Can somebody tell me you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
I see Willie come up, but I don't see anything. Yeah. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. All right, here we go. So the great ones do it all with class. True champions have class, and they consistently conduct themselves in a manner congruent with their self-image. Now, next Saturday when we do the Zoom, y'all need to, you know, make sure you got your little hair done or whatever you're doing. Put your makeup on, and, you know, guys, I don't know why y'all can put a hat on. Y'all good, but we're not blocking these screens next Saturday. All right. All right, Miss Fredericks, Miss Linda, is that Coleman? It must be Miss Coleman. Miss Reed, Miss Sampson, Mr. Lee, Miss Wiggins, Mr. Rogers, and Miss Austin. If you're blocking your screen next Saturday, you get in the boot. Not a boot, not a shoe boot. You can get kicked off the screen. That's right. You ain't coming on laying in the bed with your speaker on. Nope. All right, so true champions have class. They consistently conduct themselves in a manner congruent with their self-image, while amateur performers publicly gloat in their victories and agonize in their defeats. Professional performers tend to keep a low profile during times of great success and during times of failure. So amateurs brag about a little win they have, and then when they lose, they're down and defeated, looking sad, you know, as my mom would say, you know, you got your mouth poked out. You got your mouth poked out. But winners, professionals, tend to keep a low profile during times of great success and during times of failure. You know how people say when you score a touchdown, act like you've been there before. You know, you ain't got to you ain't got to dance every time you hit the end zone. And I know they say if you don't want them to dance, don't let them in the end zone. But I'm saying do the Barry Sanders sometimes where he just dropped the ball because he's been there so many times that it's not like, you know, I have to keep doing it. But a lot of guys who are not professional, who are just amateurs, any little success, they out here, you know, bouncing. And then when somebody, you know, beats them, now they got their mouth poked up. But professionals don't do that. When they win, you rarely even know that they're winning. And when they lose, you really don't know anything like that. Now, I'm not taking away your spirit. I'm not saying you can't be excited and all that. But you don't always have to show it to the world. You can be excited, but you don't always have to show it to the world. All right. So another hallmark of the great ones is that humility after triumph. They tend to project themselves in the same manner, whether they are winning or losing. When they win, they love to share the credit with the team. And when they lose, they assume 100% of responsibility. That's why they assume 100% of the responsibility. That's why I'm not the guy, and I'm trust me, I don't know everybody on here, and I don't know everything you said. So this is not a disrespect or a diss on something that you might have said or still say. It's not. I'm just saying for me, I don't say the people that I work with, I have made them. Or you hear people all the time in this industry say, I created, 10 millionaires. I created 26-figure earners. No, you didn't. You didn't create that. The people you trained created themselves. All they did was take your information and used it. Because if you're going to take responsibility for creating these 26-figure earners or these 10 millionaires, then you got to take credit for all the other thousands that didn't do anything. So you don't hear that. You got people with huge organizations and they got 10 millionaires maybe, and they might have 26-figure earners that they say I created. No, you didn't. You gave them the information, and that person took that information and went and did something with it. Because if you created those people, that means the other thousands and hundreds of thousands people in your group who didn't do anything, that means you created them too. You don't hear people saying that. Yeah, I created, 100,000 broke jokers. I also created, you don't hear that. All you hear is the success that they've said. That's why if you're going to take responsibility for somebody who did the work that you asked them to do, then you got to take responsibility for the folks who didn't do the work. Now, that's just my opinion. I don't, I used to hear people say it all the time. I'm thinking, no. Like I have people even come to me and say, Tony, you did this, you done. No, I didn't. You did it. I've just put it out there for you to do. You did it. 100%. Thank you there, Ms. Dyer. So I can see now on the thing. And for the ones who just coming on, y'all gonna get this too. Next Saturday, Miss Brown, Miss Davis, y'all ain't coming on here with your little picture. Y'all coming on next week with you. Well, you got to put a hat on, a little makeup on Saturday, because we ain't gonna turn this into no conference call with a little monkey dancing and everybody else blocked. Next Saturday, y'all gonna show your faces, because I'm gonna call on some of y'all next Saturday. So be ready. Have your book with you too. Have your book with you too next Saturday. All right. High class approach to performance opens doors that propel champions to even greater success. The great ones like to associate and do business with people who know how to handle themselves, especially in adverse situations under pressure. This is one of the primary distinctions between the upper class and the world class. The ego-driven upper class must win at any cost. The spirit-driven world class insists on following a code of ethics. The great ones have the character and do what's right, and they do it all with class. So you have some people, you hear, win by any means. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. All that sounds good. And it might be a place and time for that, but most of the time, it's not, you don't need to do it. You just need to do what's right, because if you cheat, you cheating yourself out of the process of learning. If you cheat, I'm laughing because I'm going to tell you a little story about a man named Jed. No, this story is about a man named Tony. So in college, at the great Jackson State University, the sonic boom of the South, often imitated, never duplicated. So I'm in my class was that? I want to say chemistry. I had no business in there, but I took that class. And so two of the guys that I used to like hang with in the class were football players. So, we cool. We used to hang out, on the plaza. That's where all the people walk by. So I'm out there talking to them one day, and they tell me that they got a copy of the test. I said, what? Yeah, we got a copy of the test. So I said, okay, that means we got a copy of the test then. If y'all two, you got to include me in this. Oh, I ain't asked how they got a copy of the test. I ain't asking that. So we take the test. I make a 95. The instructor comes in. He says, we're going to redo this test. And everybody in there like, oh, they going crazy because. And he said, you know the reason we're going to redo it? Because Fleming made a 95. They was looking at me crazy. I'm like, I had never cheated or got a copy of a test, so I didn't know the process. The process is don't go from 65 to 95. You're supposed to go from 65 to like 75, 85, maybe or 90, not even a 90, stay in the 80s. If you jump from 65 to 95, that's a red flag. So the two guys looking at me like, oh, I didn't know. Because they all got like a 80, 82 or something like that. They knew that you missed some intentionally. I had never cheated before, so I ain't know. So we had to take the test over. Everybody was pissed at me. They couldn't wait till we got out of class. We was outside. Fool, don't you know? I'm like, man, I ain't know. When y'all gave me the test, y'all did not tell me to make sure you miss some. They like, it's common sense you should do that. I'm like, no, it ain't common sense to me. I want to, if I got all the answers, I'm going to put it out there. See, I ain't never cheated before. So I had never got a copy of a test before. So, but my point is from here is cheating, you know, is really cheats you. It really cheats you. Because even when we came back and took the test, I did get a little higher, like 70. I'm usually getting like 65, 66. But he knew that was my range. He knew that. So, you know, excuse me, as I always say, I see my way through college. Like, I see my way through. So, but cheating, you know, the great ones have character and do what's right, and they do it all with class. So they go through that whole process of winning, and they do it the right way. They do it the right way. And a lot of people who are spirit driven, well, who are ego driven, must win at any cost. So they'll do some stuff that shouldn't have been done and to win at any cost. And there's story after story of in the network marketing industry where people have intentionally, you know, cheated. They'd went and moved the leg somewhere else they ain't supposed to do, move people without getting signatures, did this and thinking people are stupid, took advantage of some people who didn't know. I've seen where a guy in a company move a whole leg from under somebody and put it somewhere else and didn't tell the person. And the person was new and young and didn't understand the process anyway and didn't do anything. I definitely wanted to get into it and tell that person, but I stayed away from it because I sat there and watched it happen. I sat there and looked at it. And I'm like, what happened to it? And she was like, I don't, you know. And I'm saying to myself, she probably realized that later on. I'm sure she did. But she was new and young then. And I'm like, see, if I get into it, then it's going to get ugly. So I just stayed away from it. But I saw it. And I saw that person do a lot of other stuff like that. I saw them do a lot of other stuff like that. They'd have done better just explaining to the person what they're trying to do, and then, you know, make sure that they have something that they can work with. But they didn't care. They just went and did it. You know, I've seen that happen a lot of times. Not just that example, but when people want to win so bad, they move all kind of stuff in the organization. I remember one company, I was running so fast that before you knew it, I had hit all these positions and was about to get to the top of the plan. One of the guys that was in there before me, who had relationships, saw that. And I jokingly always say, he put on his lab coat and went to the lab and got in there and started moving people, changing this, getting people, paying people to let me have this, getting signed signatures from the company. I mean, he doctored everything up so that on that day, when I got promoted, he would get promoted. I didn't find it out till later, but you know, he had to win at everything. He couldn't let somebody else do that faster than him. And I mean, literally, he did some. That's why I say he put the lab coat on and put the jacket on. He went in there and just, you know, that video with 50 Cent and Dr. Dre and Eminem, and they got them lab coats on, and they. That's how I looked at him. I'm like, dang, this dude did all that after I realized what had happened. But ego driven. All right, action step for the day. Make a list of 5 things you would like the following groups of people to say about your conduct. Make a list of 5 things you would like the following groups of people to say about your conduct. Number 1, your family. Number 2, your friends. Number 3, your customers. Now go to work and become that person. Or go to work and become this person. Make a list of 5 things you would like the following groups of people to say about your conduct. So your family, what do you want your family to say about your conduct? Your friends, what do you want them to say? Your customers, what do you want them to say? I know with customers, man, you want them to say that you help them. You nurtured them. See, a lot of times we get customers and we don't nurture them. We don't help them. We don't follow up with them. We don't treat them like you're supposed to treat a customer. We got a customer, whatever. Now, family and friends, that can be a little difficult in the business we in. You know, that could be a little difficult because a lot of your family and friends, well, I'm going to say a lot. Well, it depends on who you are. A lot of my family and friends, you couldn't really tell, or you can't really tell, you know, whether they really want to support you or they, you know, kind of faking, making it seem like that. And it almost gets to a point where you really don't care what they think. And you're like, that's just me. Now, some of y'all have different families and different friends. So you might want them to think of you in a certain way. You might want them to think, I don't think I want them thinking in any way about me at all. Think about this. And I guess I can't use this example anymore because it's been so long, because I have created friends between that time who are also maybe been in business with me. But if you go back and think about when I started and all my friends and family, and let's just say for the first 10, 15 years, because, you know, I've created new friends between that time, or associates who I invited to be a part of something, and some of them did it. But you got to understand, they were like new to me. They were a new associate or a new friend. But everybody that was a part of my circle when I first started home-based business, none of them. Not one. I only have a sister. So I learned quickly that I couldn't really count on them and couldn't really, you know, look toward them. Matter of fact, I made sure I even stopped even. I know some people say you still got to keep going at them, and that's true. But I just, you know, I figured out another way without them. But that's me. If you good with your family and friends, then come up with 5 things that you think that you want them to say about you. All right, let's do the last one. Champions make do or die commitments. Champions make do or die commitments. So if there were one word that defined the champion, the word would be commitment. The word would be commitment. When everyone else is tired, exhausted, and burned out from the battle, the great ones are just getting warmed up. Commitment, commitment. I've told this story before. I'm going to say it again because maybe somebody on here hadn't heard it. But the billionaire Robert Smith, you know, one who paid off the tuition for the kids at was it Clark? Or more, it was Clark. I think it was Clark College in Atlanta. He had a kind of like an intern guy that was working with him and his partner. And this is about commitment and exhaustion and burnout, and how the great ones just getting warmed up. Friday evening, his guy that was learning from him, and I don't know if it was an intern or just a mentee or somebody, around 6:30 or 7, he had been there all day. And he told Mr. Smith he was getting his stuff together so he can go. He had to go meet his wife for dinner. So he went to meet his wife for dinner. Then when on the way home, he realized he had left his briefcase at the office. So he stopped back by there around 10 o'clock. And Robert Smith and his other guy was still in there working. So he ran in, grabbed his briefcase and told him, you know, I forgot my briefcase, and, you know, he left. Saturday morning, he came back because he wanted to update some files or something on his computer about 9 o'clock that morning. And when he came in, Robert Smith and that guy was still there. They hadn't left at that night. They stayed overnight working and was still working. Now, if I'm learning from a billionaire and I see how committed they are, I don't leave to go see my wife or my mother, or I don't care if we had dinner planned. I need to hang with this guy because we can have plenty more dinners later on. From what I learned from a billionaire, and I let him see I'm just as committed to him. I do not leave if he's still there. Because I can imagine during the late nights, the conversations we would be having at 2, 3 in the morning while we still in the office working. The things I would be hearing from him at that time, the jewels, the nuggets that I would get from him. If he's committed to be there, I'm gonna be there. Sorry, wifey, sorry, mother, sorry, son, sorry. I'm not missing this. How often do you ever have a chance to even be around a billionaire? How often do you ever have a chance for a billionaire to say, I will mentor you or make you an intern? You really don't have that time, you know, to have that. Well, Tony, it ain't all about that. It's all, yes, it is. Who you know in your community growing up has been able to be mentored by a billionaire? Who? From the time you were born to now, who do you know? No, let's go back. Ask your mother and father. Ask your grandparents. Anybody you know has been mentored by a billionaire. You don't do that. You stay until it's time for him to go. And then you might stay a little longer. Kobe Bryant is a good example of that. You know, my man from the Chicago Bulls told the story at the time. You know, the guy that went to Duke and he had an accident on a motorcycle, so he couldn't play any more basketball, but he works at ESPN in the mornings. Can't think of his name right now, but he told the story that one day before a game, he, you know, like the game was 7 at night, I guess, he came into the gym shooting about 8 that morning. And he said he saw Kobe down on the other end of the gym shooting also. And Kobe had been there, you know, Jason Williams. Yep, that's who it is. Jason Williams. He said Kobe had been there, you know, maybe a couple hours before he got there. So he said, I'm going to sit here and shoot, you know, 300 jumpers or some. I got to hit 200 or something before I leave. And so he did that. He was there for 3 hours and he got ready to leave. He noticed Kobe was still down there. And so later on, you know, he asked Kobe one day, he said, I was in the gym. Kobe said, I saw you. He said, you saw me down there shooting? He said, yeah. He said, you left at a certain time. He said, yeah. He said, how long? Why did you stay that long? He said, because I saw you. And I wasn't going to leave before you left. Like, I don't care if I got in there 2 hours earlier. I'm going to stay longer than you. I did that intentionally. He said, I wasn't leaving before you left. I'm committed to what I do. I'm dedicated. And I needed you to see that. You're like, so you stayed in there for me. Yeah, he said, I couldn't let you do that. I couldn't leave and leave you in there. He said, but you got there before me. So I'm going to be there after you gone. See, those kind of commitments people call crazy and insane. And, you know, that's why Steve Jobs says the crazy ones. It's the crazy ones that get stuff done. It's the crazy ones that, you know, extend themselves longer than anybody else. It's the crazy ones. Kobe's like, yeah, I'm crazy. I don't do none of that stuff. I am crazy. And it has, for people who want to win in life, I know some of y'all on here saying, well, I don't want to win that bad, Tony. But I ain't talking to you then. If you good and you don't, not talking to you. I like how Michael Jordan said it in that documentary. He said, well, you know, he said it with tears in his eyes too. He said, that's how I play. That's how I win. Some of y'all don't want to, then, you know, I'm sorry for that. But that's the only way I knew how to win. You know, how harsh he was on the players. I don't, I wasn't there. So, but, from what I saw, how he did it, it's some people that just, what's the coach? Just the one that was in Indiana. He was like that. And Isaiah learned from him, Isaiah Thomas. But, Isaiah was already tough before he got there. Just using these sports analogies for that. All right, so it's not that they don't fatigue, but their commitment to their dream keeps them going. So it's not like Robert Smith wasn't tired in there that night and the next morning, but his commitment kept him going. Average people think it would be nice to achieve their goals as long as it doesn't get uncomfortable or painful. See, a lot of people say once it gets uncomfortable and painful, that's when you start. That's when it really starts to kick in then. If you don't get to that point, you really ain't. But a lot of people get to that point and, like I said before, take this green drink. It don't taste good. I can tell you that right now. It doesn't. But I drink it. Because it was suggested that it's good for my body. It don't taste good. But I know some of y'all out here now, like, it's too painful, too uncomfortable. I don't even like how it smells. And then you drink it. Oh, it's so nasty. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's not supposed to be Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid is what got you the problem. You want something that's good for you, but you want it to be Kool-Aid. Yeah. It has to be uncomfortable. You have to go through the pain to get to where you want to go. And the billionaire Robert Smith knows that. The world-class people knows that as long as it don't get too uncomfortable, that's the average people. I do it if I ain't got to work all night. Yeah, I do it if I ain't got to work all night. But what if you have to work all night? No. See, they ain't paying me for that. Huh? The knowledge that you get just being around a billionaire, the little stuff that he's dropping is like gold compared to the stuff that your friends are saying and stuff. I mean, he's dropping little stuff just in conversation that he's been doing all his life. And to you hearing it like, oh man. I would have been there with a pen, and every time he said some little nugget, I'm writing it down. I told this story before too, but I keep thinking about it. There's nothing I can do. But I just went blank on his name though. He's passed since then, but he was over the largest black insurance company at that time in the United States. And he was based out of Atlanta. God, I can't think of the name of the insurance company. But he went to the church that my uncle went to and my aunt. And so I would get up. It was called Big Bethel. It's down on Auburn Avenue in Atlanta. Matter of fact, I saw something 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I just realized that was the church that they filmed it. You remember the movie Let's Do It Again with Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier? And they went to New Orleans and the boxer was JJ. And that meeting where they had the whatever kind of group they were in, that was Big Bethel's church right on the corner of Auburn Avenue, downtown Atlanta. When they filmed it there, I was like, that's Big Bethel. Because my aunts always call me, you need to come to church with. I was like, okay, I'll be there. And one Sunday, my uncle introduced me to this guy. Dang, what is his name? It'll come to me. I guess I was about 25, 24, 25. My partying was in full effect. I don't know how I made the church that morning. Matter of fact, the night before, I was about 2 blocks away at this club to about 3 in the morning. So my aunt called me, woke me up like, I'm gonna see you at church, right? Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, I was in full effect right there. So when I met him at church, like, okay, I didn't know who I was really meeting like that. I knew he was a bigwig, but I didn't know who he was. So he set up a time for me to come see him. He said he's gonna give me 45 minutes where we can talk and discuss stuff. I didn't show up. Well, only good thing I can get from that is that if I showed up, maybe y'all might not be listening to me right now. So that might be a good thing. But besides that, if I had shown up, I don't know where I would be in life because of having that kind of contact and learning from him. Because even when I was a fool, partying all the time, I also had enough sense to know that if I get around somebody, but I didn't look at him like that. I just looked at him as a dude at the church who owned the insurance company. It wasn't just the insurance company, and he wasn't just the dude at the church. Later on, when I realized that I blew that, I came to my senses about 20 when I turned about 28, but from 17 to 28, boy, what was that guy on that song talking about he invented sex? I invented partying. I invented partying. The same way I do this is the same way I party. So I missed out on that. But common sense, well, not common sense, but if I had gotten around that and, went to his place and seen what he was, it'd have been a different story, but I didn't do it. I just didn't do it. So, but if I did, I would have been around him every moment, every chance I got to pick up from him. Because since then, I don't think I have met anyone as relevant as he was. I think he's passed away since, but you might have a window and that's it. Like the guy with Robert Smith, I don't know whatever happened to him. He might have, eventually got his act together and all that, but the chance of him meeting another billionaire in his lifetime, So it says here, champions don't recognize pain because they have made a commitment to do what it takes to win. Amateur performers make a commitment to and approach it like a hobby. Champions recognize the pain before they even make the commitment. They know what they got to go through. Amateurs make a commitment and then approach it like a hobby. Professional performers make a commitment and approach it like war, like it's war. They come in like it's a war because they understand the commitment that it takes. They understand the price that they have to pay to win. I'm thinking of this book. These three guys were in prison. They were captured by the enemy during wartime. I think it was in Russia, somewhere during World War I. And I read that book too. It'll come to me later. But two of the guys felt like the U.S. was going to come and save them right away in 6 months or 7 months or 8 months. And one guy said, that ain't going to happen. We got to lock down and be prepared for 3, 4, 5 years in this camp because they ain't coming like that. The other two guys really believed that the U.S. was going to come save them in 6 or 7 months. And they said this guy was a fool. But he was preparing for war. He was preparing for the commitment that it was going to take to stay in that prison camp because he knew that it wasn't going to happen like that fast. They thought it was. And in 6 to 8 months, when the government didn't come and save them, they wound up hanging themselves. But he tried to tell them, it's a commitment, man. You ain't going to be out of here in those 6, 7 months. You know, he was like a captain or something in the war during wartime. He had been around that before, and they just believed that something was going to happen. And it didn't. Same thing in business. You know, people, you know, you have leaders who've seen something, been there before. And some people can say you killing a person's dream by telling them the truth. And I've been known for that. People, Tony, you just be, you know, you be so negative. In today's time, that means you telling the truth. Being negative means you actually told them the truth. That's what it means. It's a lady put that on me the other day. I was at this office and I told her, I said, dang, you gonna be so mean. She said, I ain't mean. I'm just telling you the truth. I said, you're right. That is. So when you tell people the truth, things that it's gonna take to be done, it's people out here on social media. I see them on Instagram. They done made $1 million in 24 hours. Mr. Fleming, you just, you telling me I got to do this, and no, these people, I'm like, okay. If you believe that, then you keep believing that. Have something like that happen? Yeah. But is that the norm? No. No. Proverbs is still the norm. Proverbs is still here. If you read Proverbs, it will show you and tell you that it's a process. process: seed time and harvest time. And they're two different points. Seed time is over here, and then later on, harvest time is over here. A lot of folks be wanting to have seed harvest time. No, no, no. Proverbs still, the truth doesn't change. The truth doesn't change. That's one thing that's written in the truth doesn't change. Yep. See, the time between, that's why it's two different times. Harvest time, seed time, you plant and water. And then later on, it's harvest time. But most people want seed harvest time all at one time. And I'm like, if you read Proverbs, you'll know that doesn't work. That's not going to happen. You got to go through that process. Speaking of Proverbs, though, I got a little, man, it's time to go, ain't it? God, dog. I had a story to tell y'all. Another story, but I guess I'll tell you some other time. Unless you want to hear it. Tell the story. This is a recent story. Last week, I was interviewing a guy on my podcast that was in prison for 10 years, doing some stupid stuff, robbing, And so when he got to prison, I had to stop the recording because I was laughing so hard when he told me what happened. So when he got to prison, I said, were you uncomfortable? He said, no, man. He said, it looked like the projects. I said, really? He said, yeah. When I got there, because I thought, I said, were you afraid of? No. I went in and put my stuff in my cell and I just got in the mix. Came in there hanging with the dudes. He said he was comfortable because it looked like his hood. I wonder why they do that though, but that's not the point. So he said when he came back to his cell, he knew it was another bunk in there, so he knew somebody was in there. And he said it was an older white dude. He said, he said, this is like 2004. He said, a whole process of me going through that, I hadn't heard anything, any music, nothing on the radio. He said the old white dude had a Whitney Houston tape. So you know how that was like, exciting to him to get a Whitney Houston tape. So the guy told him he could listen to it, and he took it and he was listening to it the whole time. And his partner heard he had a Whitney Houston tape. He said he wanted to give it to him, but he couldn't because he had to give it back. So he said, I went back and I pretended so he could see me like I was putting the tape back in the thing, but I really wasn't because I wanted to take it and give it to my partner. And he said, I thought I had fooled him, but I don't think I did. So this all in a day's period, the first day that he stepped on. Because he told me, he said, man, I almost got murdered the first day. I said, how? He said, I almost got killed. I said, what happened? And that's why he started telling me the story. So he said, and it has something to do with Proverbs. So I'm gonna get to that. So he said, he told the old dude that when he got some food, he said, I ain't had no food. You know what I'm saying? He told the old dude because he figured he was an old white guy, old. And a white guy, he figured, I can handle him. So he told him, I'm going to take your food. And I'm going to whoop your AZZ tonight just to let you know who I am when I get back to this cell. Now, first thing, You never tell somebody what you're going to do. You just have to do it. Now, you can't plan something, you know, later on, you know, how your mother, your dad do. When I come home, when I come home, it's going to be, you know what's going to happen. Yeah, I know. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put on 2 pair of jeans and 2 pair of sweats. So I'll be prepared. But he told the guy that. So he come back to the cell that night. He said, and he come in there and, you know, he told the dude, well, you know, I ain't like the way you did with the food. He kept saying, because he's an old white dude. So he said, I came toward him, and he said the dude was sitting on the bed, and he came out the back of his bed bunk with a knife that was created by 5 Coke cans. He said the guy had shaved the cans down, put the point on them, glued them all together, and he said it was a real knife. He said he turned around, started hollering, "Oh, somebody come get me." He said the guy jumped up, was poking him with the can. He said he was poking him and he was hollering, "Somebody come help me, come get me." And the warden, I mean, not the warden, but the guards came and, you know, they broke it up. But my point is, he said that I still had to be in this cell with this guy. And I realized then that he was much crazier than me, even though he was an old white, he was much insane than me, because the dude told him, man, I've been here 13 years and I got a life sentence. So I don't have a problem killing nobody. I ain't going nowhere. I don't have a problem doing that. So dude realized that, you know, he wasn't a tough guy in the whole situation. And now this is the funny part. Well, you know, that I said, so what happened? He said, man, every day this guy got up, and before we would go to the, I don't know what you call it, to go eat, cafeteria, whatever. I don't know if it's cafeteria, whatever they call that to go do. He said, every day before we went to eat, he made me read Proverbs. I said, every day, the child, yeah. I said, every day, every day. I said, what you do, read it and read it out loud or something? He said, no, we took turns reading. I read it. I explained to him what I got from it. He read it. He explained to me what he got from it. He said, that went on for 6 months. I said, every day? He said, every day. I could not leave that cell and go get something to eat until we did Proverbs. He said, I realized I wasn't going to be as crazy as him, because that guy, he said, I had 10 years. This guy had life. So I said, what you do? He said, I read it every day. I said, what? Yeah, every single day. Till after about 6 months, he said, I found a way out to get him out of the cell. I figured out a way to get him out. I said, did you see me? He said, I ain't see him no more the whole time I was there. But he made me read Proverbs every single day. He said, we read it together. Yep. He said, I was so tired of reading Proverbs. He said, but I use it now, because he's been out like 8 years now. He did his 10 years. I think it was from 2004 to 2014. And so he's been out since then, and his life has changed. He's doing a lot of good stuff. He says, but everything in life now, I can relate it back to Proverbs. I always think of something that I read there. And he said, the dude made me do it. He said, I had never heard of Proverbs before I went to jail. He said, I had never read the Bible. Watch this. He said, I went to church though, but I ain't read the Bible. He said a lot of folks in there were just sitting in church. That's what a lot of folks do. They might take their Bible with them. They ain't gonna open it. Some of y'all got them Bibles at home, and they look brand new. You'd had them 10, 15 years. They look brand new. Let me pull mine out. Mine all highlighted. Oh, I got it by my bed. Mine all highlighted and everything. So that don't mean nothing if I don't use it and I don't do right and I don't do the stuff that it says in there. So it can be highlighted too all day long. All right. That's my story for the day, folks. And I'm sticking with it. So, but you remember, next Saturday, all these pretty pictures y'all have there, you come in here with that. You let everybody know we sending you right back home with that. We're gonna cut you right off. We need to see. I ain't gonna be the only little monkey dancing around here. Y'all, I want to see y'all face too. Y'all sitting there, go, monkey, go. And I'm over here. All right, let me stop the recording. Think I know what I'm doing. Oh, that's all she wrote. Both of the pens broke. All right, stop recording. I guess. No, that didn't do it. Did that do it? I don't know. All right. I'm just going to leave. Bye.